Welcome. Welcome to Close Reactions of the Third Kind, where I react to someone else's reaction to someone else's video. Well, you may find it confusing, but you'll get used to it. So let's go. We're going with Lewis again because he's so entertaining. Not overly bright, but entertaining. And I really like Geography by Jeff. He has this wonderful ability to take what could be a boring subject and inject life into it. Oh, and I'm supposed to beg you to like, comment, and subscribe, or YouTube just ignores the channel completely. Please.
Why Washington?
What if I told you that the state famous for its endless rain actually grows the majority of the country's apples in a dry desert? Or that the westernmost point of the lower
Wait, Washington has a desert? What, is it like in this part here where I'm seeing is kind of dry?
48 isn't in California or Oregon, but hidden inside the contiguous
Wait,
U.S. is the majority of the country's apples in a dry desert.
Wait, and hold up. Apples grow in deserts? I thought apples grow in like a field.
Or that the
With the
westernmost
trees.
point of the lower 48 isn't in California or Oregon, but hidden inside the contiguous
Oh.
U.S.'s only temperate rainforest. Welcome to
Oh.
Washington, a state often defined simply by gloomy weather and tech
Beautiful.
giants, but one that is actually shaped by explosive volcanoes, ancient megafloods, and incredible geographic engineering. So here are
Jeez.
15 incredible geography facts you never knew about Washington State.
I'm ready for it.
See, he's going to answer all those questions you had. You don't have to keep questioning everything he says. You'll learn a lot by not talking so much.
What do you mean by temperate?
I seem to recall you saying at one time you were a college graduate, and yet you don't know the meaning of the word temperate. Britain must have some really crap universities. According to Merriam-Webster, it means having a moderate climate, which lacks extremes in temperature. Now, England has a temperate climate. Does that help?
Temporary. Like what? Does it like go on a boat and just leave and it comes back every summer or something?
That is probably the most ridiculous thing you've ever said.
Including the Hoh, Quinault, Keats, and Bogachil. This unique ecosystem exists purely because of a geographic phenomenon known as the orographic effect.
He can be forgiven for not knowing what orographic means. But he's about to explain it, so just listen.
A
Okay.
warm, moisture-laden air blows in from the Pacific Ocean. It hits the towering Olympic Mountains and is forced upward. As the air
Right.
rises, it cools and releases massive amounts of precipitation on the
Oh,
windward side
okay.
of the range.
It's
Consequently,
like a weather roller coaster.
I don't know anyone else who would use that as an analogy, but if you insist.
these western-facing valleys receive an astonishing 12 feet of rain every single year.
Wow.
This constant deluge, combined with moderate coastal temperatures, creates a vibrant, dense ecosystem dominated by massive Sitka spruce
Wait, I got a question. Right? And I don't know if I'm about to sound crazy.
I think the odds are leaning that way.
But listen. This is a rainforest. Right? I assume nobody comes around and maintains these plants to be this high. Right? Whenever I see like tropical rainforests or like forests,
A tropical rainforest is much different. Not only do you not know what temperate means, you don't know tropical either.
where like no one's doing the gardening there. No one's maintaining it. Right? And it looks neat and tidy.
The next minute or so is just a bunch of mindless blathering.
But then, my garden, I haven't maintained it for like 8 months. Well, like the soil part. And the weeds are bigger than my trees. Well, they're not that big, but they're very big. They are very, very, very big, right? I'm going to do it tomorrow, actually, speaking of it, because now it's the summer. But what I'm saying is like, shouldn't these plants and that be as big as the trees? Like, you shouldn't be, like, I know this part's kind of crazy over here, but like, this will be hundreds of years just growing, right? I don't know. I feel like I need a jungle video. Who maintains the jungle? Oh, wait, it's probably the animals, isn't it? Did I just go on that crazy rant and then just answer my own question? Right at the end? Is it something to do with the animals? Probably, right? Probably.
The simple answer is that there are hundreds of thousands of species of plants. Each flourishes under different conditions of sunlight and rainfall, and temperature and soil nutrients, etc. The weeds in your garden are totally different from those in rainforests. Plant height is something that is dependent on these conditions. Some species just grow taller than others. Animals have very little to do with it.
And western hemlock trees draped in thick green epiphytic mosses.
Oh.
Without the specific geographic placement of the Olympic Mountains right on the coastline, this lush environment wouldn't exist.
Look at that. The scars of the Missoula floods.
Eastern Washington's channeled scablands look like
What
a
is that?
landscape borrowed from Mars, formed by some of the most violent geological events in Earth's history. During the
Right.
last ice age, a massive glacial dam formed in modern-day Idaho,
Okay.
holding back the enormous glacial Lake Missoula. Periodically, the water would breach the ice dam, sending terrifying walls of water hundreds of feet high and traveling at highway speeds,
Jeez.
racing across the Washington landscape toward the Pacific Ocean. These catastrophic floods
That's gotta be a lot of water, man. And that came from one iceberg?
occurred dozens of times. The sheer force of the water scoured away the deep topsoil and tore into the underlying volcanic basalt bedrock.
Right.
This process carved out deep coulees, massive dry waterfalls like Dry Falls, which is
Wow.
5 times the width of Niagara, and left behind a scarred, stripped terrain that baffled early geologists.
Look at that. Crazy. The westernmost point,
When asked to name the westernmost point of
you would automatically think it's California.
the lower 48 states, most people naturally guess somewhere along the expansive coastlines of California or Oregon.
Right.
However, geography trivia enthusiasts know that the true answer is Cape Alava,
Washington.
located in Washington state. Situated on the remote, rugged coastline of the Olympic Peninsula within Olympic National Park,
Okay.
reaching this geographic extreme requires a 3-mile hike through dense coastal forests on a boardwalk trail. The cape juts out into the Pacific Ocean just a bit further west than Cape Blanco in Oregon. The beach
Interesting.
at Cape Alava is uniquely wild, defined by rocky sea stacks, tidal pools,
Oh, wait. I don't know if it's this part, but I've seen Washington State before, or was it Oregon? It was one of the two. And you got these massive rocks in the ocean. Absolute gorgeous.
and shores littered with massive driftwood logs, tossed up by violent winter
Logs?
storms, perfectly showcasing the untamed nature of Washington's coastal geography.
Oh, wow. Hadras major glaciers.
Mount Rainier dominates the Washington skyline, standing at 14,410
Massive.
feet. But what makes its physical geography truly terrifying and awe-inspiring isn't just its height, it's the sheer volume of ice it holds.
Okay.
Mount Rainier boasts 28 named glaciers, containing more permanent ice and snow than all the other Cascade volcanoes combined.
Oh,
While
geez.
these glaciers are vital,
Wait, why is this one so icy, though?
It's very high, which makes it cold, and it catches the moist winds off the ocean. Presto, ice. Is it really that hard to figure out?
acting as massive frozen reservoirs that feed the region's rivers and hydroelectric dams through the dry summers, they also create a severe geographic hazard. Because Rainier is an active stratovolcano, geothermal heat constantly alters and weakens the rock. If an eruption or significant seismic event were to melt a fraction of that ice rapidly, it would
It would melt. Oh my god.
create a massive, fast-moving mudflow called a lahar, which poses an existential threat to the densely populated river valleys directly below.
Jeez, that's not good. Ring of Fire hotspot.
Washington State is a highly active segment of the Pacific Ring of Fire.
Wait,
Fundamentally,
what's a Ring of Fire?
It was one of Johnny Cash's biggest hits. Or a roughly horseshoe-shaped region ringing the Pacific Ocean. Approximately 75% of the world's active volcanoes lie along this line.
shaped by the constant motion of tectonic plates.
Okay.
Just off the coast, the dense oceanic Juan de Fuca plate is actively subducting, or diving beneath, the lighter North American plate. As this rock gets pushed deep into the Earth's mantle, it melts into magma, rising to the surface to form the Cascade Volcanic Arc.
Wait, what?
Because of this geographic reality, Washington is home to 5 active volcanoes.
5? Wait. Washington State has 5 active volcanoes in the one state.
Why do you have to question everything you're told just because it lies outside your comfortable little Birmingham bubble? He knows what he's talking about. You don't.
Mount Baker, Glacier Peak, Mount Rainier, Mount Adams, and of course, Mount St. Helens.
Oh my god, I'd be terrified to live here.
Well, then don't. Stay in England.
The catastrophic 1980 eruption of Mount St. Helens is a stark reminder of this volatile geography.
Wow.
The blast blew 1,300 feet off the mountain's summit, completely reshaping the local topography, flattening hundreds of square miles of forest, and forever altering the course of the Toutle River.
Oh
We're
my
gonna
god.
see how a simple line on a map created one of
And that happened in 1980. I'm assuming like the volcanoes are like volcanoes, but
Brilliant. Volcanoes are like volcanoes.
they're not. Wait, isn't the super volcano Yellowstone right near Washington State as well?
Yeah, a mere 775 miles away. About the same as the whole length of Britain.
Yeah, Washington State. Yeah, call that the hot state, and not because the weather hot, the volcano hot, man.
the weirdest, most isolated borders in America. In just a second, geographic isolation is a daily reality, all because map makers in 1846
Beautiful.
drew a straight line.
Accidental exclave of Point Roberts. I know what an exclave is now because of these American videos. We don't have any in the UK.
Point Roberts is a geographic anomaly born from drawing lines on a map without fully surveying the land. In 1846, the Oregon Treaty
Jeez.
established the 49th parallel as the official border between the United
Right.
States and British North America.
That's crazy how it cuts off a part. Yeah, that's
Today, Canada.
That is
However,
crazy.
map makers in Washington, D.C. and London failed to realize that this straight line sliced off the very bottom
Yo,
There's more blithering.
listen. I'm not gonna lie, right? That small little piece for like just the ease of mind and the ease of life, Canada may as well just have it. Like, how many people actually live here? Well, I want to know how many people actually live here. How many people is this affected? Because like, don't they have to go to school like or work in America? They have to cross this border. They have to go all the way around here and then go through the border every day to go in there. There's like a school that picks them up and takes them there, right? How many people live in Point Roberts? I'm curious. How many people live here? 1,200 to 1,300. Alright, yo, you know what? Right, that's. Hey, listen, sell it to Canada or something, man.
tip of the Tsawwassen Peninsula.
That is crazy.
By strictly adhering to the parallel, this small piece of land became an American exclave.
It's so small.
Today, the residents of Point Roberts are geographically isolated from the rest of their country. To reach
What?
the rest of Washington state, by land, residents must cross an international border into Canada, drive
Jeez.
roughly 25 miles through British Columbia.
Oh, to be fair, it's not actually that far then. 25 miles. What? That's going to be like a 30-minute drive or something. 25-minute, 30-minute drive. Yeah, probably 30.
And then cross back through a second border checkpoint into the United States.
A border war started by a pig. Huh?
The Pig War of 1859 is one of the most bizarre conflicts in North American history,
might have heard about this.
entirely caused by geographic ambiguity.
If you'd like to know all about this incident without Lewis's childish rants, you should check out Oversimplified. There's a link in the description. And what's even more interesting is that I found out that not only did Lewis know about the Pig War, he actually reacted to this oversimplified video. And there's a link to his reaction in the description as well. But to be fair, that was 4 years ago, and no one can honestly be expected to remember something so trivial over that length of time.
Seattle's underground city.
Modern Seattle sits literally on top of its own history due
Okay.
to a massive geographic engineering project.
Right.
When Seattle was first settled, the downtown commercial district was built directly on top of the muddy, low-lying tidelands of Elliott Bay.
What's that?
Because it was at sea level, the area constantly flooded during high tide, and the plumbing system would notoriously back up. After the
Ooh.
Great Seattle Fire of 1889 burned the largely wooden city to the ground, city planners saw an opportunity to fix their geographic mistake.
They built
They
up.
decided to rebuild the city, but required that all new streets be elevated by building massive retaining walls and filling them with dirt.
Bro, that must have took 8. They
The new
literally,
streets were raised
they literally built the whole city?
between 12 and 30 feet. The original first floors of the surviving brick buildings became basements, creating a fascinating network of
Oh, okay. Yo, that would still be a lot of work though, right? But then again, if you're rebuilding the city, yeah, in a way, you may as well rebuild it on this and then just turn the old buildings into basements. Wow, very cool.
subterranean historic geography.
Very cool.
Thank you for your approval. I honestly didn't think you'd understand.
A Hanford site and a Manhattan project.
During World War II, the secretive Manhattan Project needed a location to manufacture plutonium for the world's first atomic weapons.
Oh.
The geography of eastern Washington provided the perfect, albeit demanding, environment.
Did it?
The government chose a 586 square mile stretch of land near the town of Hanford for 3 specific geographic reasons.
Why?
The massive flow of the Columbia River was needed to cool the nuclear reactors. The newly built Grand Coulee Dam provided abundant hydroelectric power.
Fair
and
enough.
the arid, isolated desert environment provided a safe buffer zone for this highly dangerous work. The sudden arrival of thousands of workers transformed this quiet agricultural region into an atomic boomtown overnight. Today, the Hanford site represents a complex historic legacy, serving as both a marvel of rapid mid-century engineering and the most contaminated nuclear cleanup site in the Western Hemisphere.
Oh, is it still contaminated?
Yes, but a number of mitigation programs are underway. But there's still so much to do.
A name change that backfired.
The fact that there is a Washington state on the West Coast and a Washington, D.C.
Oh, okay. This still confuses me today. Like, it actually does confuse me. Like, I do know that Washington and Washington, D.C. are separate, but then some days I'm like, Washington, D.C. is in Washington, and then some days I forget where the White House is. Is it in Washington or is it in Washington, D.C.? It is in Washington, D.C. I don't know. But it is very, 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 very. Why is there 2 Washingtons?
I can understand how someone who's never had it explained could get confused. Once. But you've been told numerous times, so... And as for why, he's about to tell you, so shut up and listen.
On the East Coast is a permanent source of geographic confusion, and it was entirely an accident of history. In 1853, residents of the region petitioned Congress to break away from the Oregon Territory to form a new territory.
Okay.
They proposed naming it Columbia, a logical choice given the dominant presence of the Columbia River that shaped the area's geography and economy.
Makes
However,
sense.
Representative Richard Stanton of Kentucky argued against the name.
Why?
He reasoned that a territory of Columbia would be too easily confused with the nation's capital, the District of Columbia.
Okay.
He successfully moved to name the territory Washington instead, to honor the first president, ironically creating the exact geographic naming confusion he was trying to prevent.
Wait, but wasn't there must have been a Washington, D.C. already? So, like, was he just not thinking straight?
Yes, you know what that's like.
Did he forget? World's longest floating bridge. What do you mean
Human
floating
geography
bridge?
often requires overcoming physical obstacles, and Lake Washington presented a massive one. As the Seattle metropolitan area expanded, engineers needed to connect the city to its eastern suburbs.
Right.
However, Lake Washington is incredibly deep, and its bottom consists of deep, soft, unstable silt. Building traditional suspension bridge towers anchored to the lakebed was impossible. To
Okay.
conquer this geographic barrier, engineer Homer Hadley proposed building bridges that simply floated on the water, using massive, watertight concrete pontoons anchored by long cables. It was a radical idea that worked perfectly. Today, Washington State dominates this niche of infrastructure. It's home to 4 of the 5 longest floating bridges in the world.
Yo, that's made from concrete though. How is that floating? Like, oh, boats, man. But listen, the person that invented boats, right?
You don't really mean that, do you?
Especially the big ones that have these massive containers and all the mass inside, you know, all the smart things that go behind it, man. Fair play. Because it hurts my brain. It actually does hurt my brain.
Sounds like you're slowly coming around to the realization that people do know more about some things than you do. And you don't need to know how something works for it to exist.
including State Route 520 Bridge, which holds the top record at over 7,700 feet long.
That's a floating bridge. So none of these beams are actually going down. Oh my god. Jeez. The Cascade Curtain.
The Cascade Mountain Range literally splits Washington in half, creating a massive climatic, economic, and cultural divide, often referred to as the Cascade Curtain.
Okay.
The human geography of the state is entirely dictated by this mountain range's rain-shadow effect. The western side receives abundant rain, fostering dense forests, major deepwater ports, and massive tech and aerospace industries in a heavily populated, politically progressive corridor. Conversely,
Interesting.
as the mountains block the Pacific moisture, the eastern side of the state is a
What?
semi-arid landscape. Here, the human geography shifts dramatically. The population is sparser, the politics tend to be more
This is why I absolutely love America, because like even in the same states, you just have different, like you have like the choice. Like, do you want to live in a desert? Or do you want to live in a jungle? Do you want to live in the city? Or do you want to live in the mountains? You got so many options and choice, man.
conservative, and the economy is heavily dominated by large-scale agriculture dependent on massive irrigation networks. Few states have such
So
a stark,
different.
defining geographic barrier separating their populations.
Like, how you get that in the UK is you travel to other European countries. So how you get that in Europe, like to get different landscapes, you go to other European countries.
Well, that makes sense, since the US and Europe are roughly the same size.
And to be fair, like, even in Europe, it don't change drastically as America. Do we even have a desert in Europe? I don't think we have a desert in Europe. I'm not too sure. I've never heard of a desert in Europe. We have mountains in like Central Europe, loads. But a desert? I don't think we got a desert. I don't think we have a desert.
Well, not actually desert, but parts of Spain are very dry.
The Grand Couple Dam. Oh, the Grand Coulee Dam's massive power.
The Grand Coulee Dam is arguably the most significant piece of human-made geography in the Pacific Northwest. Spanning the Columbia River, it's the largest power-producing facility in the United States and one of the largest concrete structures in the world.
Okay.
Its construction during the Great Depression fundamentally altered the trajectory of the state. The massive amounts of cheap hydroelectric power it generated were the primary reason aluminum smelting plants relocated to Washington, which in turn allowed Boeing to build planes that helped win World War II.
There you
Furthermore,
go.
the dam pumps water into the Columbian Basin Project, an expansive irrigation network that transformed over 600,000 acres of barren, sagebrush desert into incredibly productive farmland, permanently altering the demographic and economic map of eastern Washington.
Interesting. The apple capital of the world. Oh, I actually want to know about these apples. How they're grown in the desert, bro.
Washington state produces roughly 60% of all apples grown in the United States. Yet the rainy
60%?
evergreen image most people associate with the state has nothing to do with this agricultural dominance. The state's apple industry is a triumph of human geography,
Wait. Have I been lied to my whole entire life? Apples grow on trees. Isaac Newton literally discovered gravity by an apple falling on his head. What do you mean they're growing in the desert ground? What kind of apples are these?
As I said before, shut up and listen. He'll tell you. Man, you get so annoying sometimes. Oh, and the Newton getting hit by the apple bit is, it's a myth.
altering a harsh physical landscape. The vast
Oh, wait, they're growing into trees. Okay, false alarm.
majority of these orchards are located in the eastern half of the state,
there we
in
go.
areas that naturally receive less than 10 inches of rain a year.
Wow.
Farmers realized that the nutrient-rich volcanic soil and the region's 300 days of sunshine were perfect for growing fruit.
So they're not just apples, but they're volcanic apples?
Volcanic apples. Are you high? Or just trying to be funny?
Yo.
Just needed water. By constructing extensive irrigation canals, drawing from the Columbia River and its tributaries, humans artificially transformed this high desert environment into the most productive apple growing region on the planet.
That is cool. That is very cool, because I wouldn't ever think you can grow apples in the desert. America's largest ferry system.
The Puget Sound region features a highly fragmented geography. It's
Right.
a complex network of peninsulas, islands and deep glacier-carved fjords. Because building traditional highways and bridges across these deep waterways is physically impossible or economically unviable, the state had to adapt its transportation infrastructure to the environment. The result is the Washington State Ferry System. Far from being just a tourist attraction, these massive green and white vessels act as a literal, vital extension of the state highway system. They serve as marine highways for daily commuters, commercial freight, and travelers, carrying over 20.
They're huge. I've never been on a ferry. I'm actually going on a ferry the first time ever in a couple of months. I'm going to like a British island. I don't even know where I'm going.
That's not surprising. I don't think you even know where you are half the time.
I just agreed. I don't know where I'm going. It's not far off the UK. It's one of the small islands off the UK. I'll let you know how it goes. Hopefully it's as big because apparently I got to drive a car onto it.
Million passengers and 10 million vehicles a year across various routes.
Wow.
Human geography has
Okay, the ferry I'm going on isn't carrying that many people. It's not a very popular destination.
adapted to the water, creating the largest and most heavily used ferry system in the United States.
Cool.
Like with Oregon, there's this funny idea of Washington as this lush, wet, tree-covered state, but
Right.
that's just a small portion of the actual state itself. If you head east, you're gonna find yourself in a much drier region than you otherwise might have thought.
Very interesting about the desert.
Despite volcanic apples, nuclear waste, and all of Lewis's rants and tangents, we've made it to the end. Now, I'm supposed to beg you to like, comment, and subscribe, or YouTube just ignores the channel completely and never suggests it to anyone. So please, thanks for watching.